Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we've got our second look at the brand new DC Finest range of graphic novels. So I've got another 3 for us to take a look at now. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so last time we had these 3. These were my first 3 from the range, and they'd recently been published. I didn't pick up the Wonder Woman one. But we had a look at those last video, but now I've got a further 3. So I'm filming this one just after Christmas, and we've got had a couple for presents, as I was hoping. So I've got the Justice Society of America, Legion of Superheroes, and Justice League of America. So that's going to be the 3 we have a look at today. I have also got the Green Lantern one, but that literally only arrived yesterday. So we'll just stick to the 3 team books that we've got here, and we'll start off with this one, which is the Justice Society of America, for America and Democracy. Another big huge graphic novel here, and period wise, you see this is 1940 to 1942, and it reprints All-Star Comics from numbers 3 to 12. This is from winter 1940 to September 1942. So All-Star Comics 1 and 2 are not included in this collection. The reason why is because the Justice Society itself didn't start until number 3. We got the cover. That was the first appearance of the Justice Society. Prior to that, some of these characters appeared as solo stories in issues 1 and 2. So the first Justice Society was actually in number 3. Now, this one has lots and lots of different artists included, and we'll see that they are listed all here. So writers Gardner Fox, Jerry Siegel, Ken Fitch, Sheldon Mayer, Bill O'Connor, different artists there, E. Hibbard, Sheldon Moldoff, Bernard Bailey, Sheldon Mayer, Chad Grothberg. So basically lots of different writers and artists dealing with different characters as we go through, and that's the same throughout the book. So what you will find is when you flick through this, you'll see lots of different art styles. The stories are I wouldn't say formulaic, but they're not breaking any barriers here. This is very much early wartime golden age material, but the style of artwork certainly changes throughout this book. So we do get an odd text story dotted around here. Now these would have been exactly what was included in the original comics, and it does sort of break up the actual strips here. As I said, they're all wartime. So this was America was at war at this point in their history in the early 1940s. So the stories reflect that, and they're very patriotic. You do see them sort of smashing Nazis and the Japanese. And that also brings me to something else I noticed with these. So there's a little disclaimer at the front here. It says the comics reprinted in this volume were produced at a time when racism played a larger role in society and popular culture, both consciously and unconsciously. They are presented here without alteration for historical reference. So I'm really pleased with that they're not actually censoring these. These are as the comics were produced at the time, reflecting the mood of the time. They've not been sort of censored in any way, which I think is really great. But as I said, definitely patriotic. I mean, 1940 to 1942, these are over 80 years old now. So, these are very old golden age comics. They're certainly not for everyone, but I don't mind them at all. It's a nice mix of characters in the JSA. I have read a few of these before, not that many, but I have read some of these before. And we do actually, there's an example, once again, of a text story. Plus we actually get to see a little house ad, which we don't get to see in some of the 60s books, for example. They got the big DC logo there. So I think they've done a really good job on these. They're really clean books, and yeah, I don't mind it. Although it's golden age, it's still a bit of fun. So I didn't mind that one at all. So the next book we've got is JLA, The Bridge Between Earths, and this one is from 1966 to 1969. The cover is from Justice League of America, issue 56, which is an absolute classic. And once again, it's slightly weird that this, in effect, if they go back to the start of the JLA, this is going to be like volume 3. They've not started with Brave and the Bold 28. I don't know why that is. Maybe these ones have perhaps been reprinted a lot less than the early ones. I'm really not sure. But obviously this is a lot later than what we've just been looking at, so the artwork style is vastly improved. It's a lot more modern. There is that one, in fact. There we are. The Justice League versus the Justice Society. There's a lot of Earth 1 and Earth 2 in these stories. There's a hint of the ridiculous, the other worlds. But at the same time, this was part of the JLA run. Now, some of these have got, they would have had 80-page giants in. And, of course, the 80-page giants were reprints. They generally reprinted 3 classic stories. So what they've done, and we may come across one in a minute, is to keep the run complete, they've just included the cover to the 80-page giant and not obviously reprinted the stories. So there we are. So that's JLA number 48, which was a giant number 29 and reprinted 3 stories. They would be doubled up. So they've printed the cover for completeness, and then they've gone straight on and done straight into the reprint of JLA 49. So it's a really good way of doing it. Now, these are written predominantly by Gardner Fox, and he's fairly text heavy. You'll see these stories, they are quite the decent read, and I don't mind that at all. They are a bit more, it's not like more modern comics where they're a bit light on text. They're a lot more wordy, these ones, and I don't mind that at all. We didn't actually take a look at the artists on here, but there's a fair few of them. So predominantly Gardner Fox wrote virtually all of them, but covers by Mike Sekowsky and Murphy Anderson, inking by Frank Giacola and Joe Galea. If that's how you pronounce it, Galea. So pretty consistent art. I've got some covers by Carmen Infantino and Murphy Anderson, Sid Green. The later ones here, there's a Neil Adams cover there as well. Always cool. Got some early Denny O'Neill written stories there towards the end as well. So quite a nice mixture, this one. Certainly a great period, this, in DC history. One of my favourite eras for DC, the late 60s into the early 70s. Yeah, the very end of the Silver Age, basically. But you see, great stuff there. Nice mix of superheroes, good, solid stories. As I said, a few of the ridiculous sort, but not many. I think it's a great one, that. And, yeah, really good value, that one. Then the last new one we're going to look at today is this Legion of Superheroes one. Zap Goes the Legion. So this is the 68 to 74. So it's the end of the Silver Age into the early Bronze Age. And this reprints Adventure Comics 374 to 380 and 403, Action 378 to 387 and 389 to 392, and Superboy 172, 173, 176, 183 to 184, 188, 190, 191. Basically, on the whole, Legion of Superheroes was a backup strip, and this is one of the ones where DC finest, by concentrating on the character rather than a run of a particular comic, can really shine, because it presents them here in chronological order. Once again, if you were doing it from the start of the Legion, this is probably going to be like volume 3 or 4, but it is what it is. They've decided to do it with this one. So we've got the good mix of covers here: Kurt Swan, Neil Adams, some early Jim Shooter written stories as well. Lots of Carmen Infantino covers as well. It's once again, it's just a great period here. Obviously, it's set in the 30th century, so you get a lot of Superboy and Supergirl in this one. But yeah, I'm really not sure why they've released them this way. In effect, almost like out of order. I have known other series do that, but I can't quite figure out why they've done that. Unless these early, I mean, I know Legion of Superheroes came out as archive editions, so maybe it's because of that. But even so, very nice, clean, crisp artwork. Beautiful reproduction in these DC Finest comics. They're so, so good. And a lot of these I'd never ever read, or I'd read them, but I'd read the main comic rather than the actual Legion backup. Very, very cool. I think out of all the 3 books, this was the one that I'd read the least, because there was so many in here that I'd never ever owned personally. I did spot one thing. So when we were saying just now about the 80-page giants, they weren't reprinting those. Well, they've actually done something very cool, which is here. So this was an 80-page giant, number 403. It was giant number 81. But it did have an exclusive inside, a Legion of Superhero costumes designed by readers, plus a diagram of the Legion headquarters. So they did actually include that. So although this was in an 80-page giant, which is predominantly reprint stories, because this was original, they included it, which is this stuff here. And the diagram of the Legion HQ. So I'm really, really glad to see that that's gone in. That shows an attention to detail. Of course, the thing with the Legion of Superheroes, there's so many of them, they're forever, like, explaining all their powers, you know what I mean? But very, very cool. And this was my favourite of the 3 new ones. Mainly because so many I'd never read before. Very cool indeed. Now, as I said, I have got one more in my collection, but I'm going to wait until I've got a couple more, so I'll do 3 at a time. But this is the new Green Lantern one, and I've been very much looking forward to this, but it literally only arrived yesterday, so I've not had a chance to really look through it or read it yet. So, but yeah, looking forward to that one. So I thought you might like to have a look at what these look like spine on. I'm probably just going to file mine alphabetically and then by year, by character. I think that's going to be the best way with the event books at the end, I suspect. But yeah, I think they look really, really smart. They really do. And yeah, a terrific, terrific run, these. Now, I mentioned in my last video about that website page, Ethan Hunt's page, which shows all the DC Finest releases, and that one's updated as soon as the new books are announced, so well worth bookmarking that one. There's also a really good Facebook page which I've discovered, which is well worth a visit, and I'll link to that one as well. Now, one of the best things about this Facebook page is where fellow DC Finest fans can speculate about what future releases are coming out in the series. And I've highlighted a few of those here, so I hope they don't mind. But, you know, I think their suggestions should go out to the wider audience, really. So Angel Marquez says, I hope one of the next DC Finest announced is Birds of Prey by Gail Simone or Chuck Dixon. Absolutely, I would really like to see that particular run. I hear it's very, very good, and it's something I've never read. There was a reply to that saying, I have a feeling the majority of the next announcements will be follow-ups to ones that have already been announced. But, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Joey Hines says, no new Finest this week. So how about speculation for unannounced lines? Here are my proposals for early Batman spin-offs. And then he's got Robin Volume 1, Robin Volume 2, and Batman Family Volume 1. And he's gone into this in incredible detail, even down to page counts of the likely comics that could be included. He's got Batman Family 2, 3, and 4. A Joker volume. Now, I can see them doing that, you know. I could see a Joker volume coming out of some sort. Man-Bat Volume 1, Huntress Volume 1, and Huntress Volume 2. Well, I think all of those would, you know, probably come in time, but, I mean, who can say? I mean, they've got them, the DC Finest line is penciled out all the way to July next year, but beyond that, we've not got anything. So maybe they're seeing how these first books sell, and then they'll make an announcement about what's going to be coming in the future. Dixon Chandler II says, what a great start to a great line. Couldn't agree more, Dixon. My suggestions for titles outside of the big guns, i.e. Bat, Superman, etc., are as follows. All short-lived horror titles. Ghosts, The Witching Hour, Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love. Leave the 2 house titles out of this anthology, give them their own books. Well, Ghosts ran for quite a long time. That had over 100 issues, I'm sure. And Witching Hour was in the 30s or 40s, I think. But certainly, I'd like to see some of the horror stuff done. That's certain. Golden Age Catchall, Soldiers of Victory, Flash from All Flash, Green Lantern from Cavalcade, Green Arrow and Speedy. Quality Comics. I don't think they're going to touch any of that, in all honesty. Full set as well. Goofy stories of Rainbow, Batman and Superman, Kryptonite. Well, that's coming, isn't it? We've got a volume of that stuff on the way. And then this last one, Phantom Stranger, The Question, Spectre and Shadow. And I would add to that Swamp Thing as ones I'd definitely like to see tackled. I mean, Swamp Thing would be really easy to do. I know they've been reprinted a lot, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a market for a big graphic novel with them. Obviously, if you've got any ideas of what you'd like to see coming out in future DC Finest volumes, just leave a comment below, because I do read them all, and certainly there's lots of speculation out there. Check out that Facebook group though, it's fantastic. Lots of great stuff on it. So there you go. That's another 3 books done for another month. I will try and get myself up to date on these, and even some of the books which I haven't picked up yet, I will eventually get round to getting. So we'll do the whole lot eventually, I believe. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular DC Finest content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.